got exciting panelists coming up and experts in the media as we're joined on the stage by Kilian Müller, Mustafa Isik, Oliver, he's already here, Richard Gutjahr and Lina Timm, who are all really digging deep into the journalism and media future of today. They're not only experts in their field themselves, we got, I think, the Bavarian high-class media here, even if the startups section is not missed out. So they will talk about the future and what we could expect and everything that is around in those changing worlds happening. And please give a very warm welcome to them. They're very freshly up and we got them all here. So thanks and welcome.
All right, how are we doing here? Yes? Wow, great. My name is Richard. I was asked just to, in a way, to ask a few questions within the next 20 minutes about the future of journalism. I'm asking myself, why am I to ask? Maybe because I am the only one who doesn't have answers right now. But our panelists hopefully will come up with something. Well, Oliver, we just met, so we don't need to introduce you, but we have panelists like Lina. Lina is from the BLM and she's managing the Media Lab within the BLM. Lina, tell us, what are you doing there?
Yeah, the Media Lab Bavaria is supporting talents and teams who want to found their own journalism startups. So we have different programs for them, like for people who have a very rough idea or who just start their first thing and searching for co-founders, for developers, for designers, and help them getting co-founders, getting their ideas straight. We work with things like design thinking, so we give them methods at hand. And another program is then the next step, our Startup Fellowship, where we support teams from their idea to really build a prototype and start out in the media industry.
So kind of babysitting like media people who want to build their own thing.
Media people, but also startup people. So we're pulling from both sides. I'm always telling the media people, you can build your own startup, just start it yourself, bring it up. And we also tell the startup scene that media isn't just content, it's technology and it's innovation as well. So come to us, build technology, build innovation.
And you have lots of money to hand out to the people.
I would love to have lots of money, but unfortunately I have a little bit. And but it's a first step, and we have a prototyping budget for the teams that can help them really focus for a month on just build the first thing and then go the next steps afterwards.
Okay. Well, we'll take it from there later. Mustafa Isik, we don't have to explain what BR is and stands for, public network for both radio, television, and more now online. You're the head of geeks, the wizard of tech within that corporation. Tell us exactly what's your team like and what is your position there?
All right, so I'm a part of Bayerischer Rundfunk, and as Richard said, and as most of you know, that's a public broadcaster, a regional public broadcaster, nationally syndicated, as most of them are in Germany, and they're all part of the biggest, actually that's something that people in Germany usually don't know, they're all part of the biggest broadcaster network on the planet. There's nothing bigger than ARD, for instance. People usually don't get that. They also don't get that some of the brands are the biggest that there are. For instance, Tagesschau is probably the biggest news show that there is, measured in viewership. So to cut a long story short, yes, I'm a geek, I'm a computer scientist by trade, and most of the people that I work with are computer scientists too. And our team, it's actually a department by now. We started out with 1.5 people, something like 3.5 years ago. Now we're 90, and we didn't grow just because you know, public broadcasting is usually said to have a lot of money in Germany. No, but because we, thank God, managed to, you know, to acquire and to actually give our content partners, the editors, the journalists at Bayerischer Rundfunk, and in some parts, in smaller parts of ARD, in greater ARD, to help them reach relevance in segments that we have, or actually had, long lost. I mean, we're starting to make headway. We're not where we should be, measured by our size, by what I think, but that's what we do. We build products, we build apps. We're responsible for the full stack of stuff that you can, that you actually need to do and fiddle with when you build digital products, from, you know, from the products that you in the end interface with, over the middleware, down to the bare metal or the cloud services. So that's what we do at Bayerischer Rundfunk.
Probably, just in case I missed that, so from 1.5 to 90 people in what time period?
3.5 years.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So last but not least, the invisible man, Kilian Müller. There, he's missing there, but he's right here.
Yeah, I think we're most boring. I don't know. I'm head and CEO and also founder of Publish Industry. And actually, we started as a traditional publishing company. We're focusing on the German industry. We publish technical magazines. And when I started the company 23 years back, that was really like traditional print publishing. Since, I don't know, 15 years, we try to transform our company towards digital publishing. And especially since the last 2-3 years, we decided that we need to define ourselves with a new vision, from a classical publishing company towards a company that tries to create business for technical companies within the industry. And that means that also our different platforms that we provide to the industry are not any longer just publishing platforms, but more like, let's say, data-driven business model creation platforms. So we really do a transformation process in the moment that is slightly tremendous.
So, if I get it right, we're all in the process of transforming, like, our business models, our corporations, our way how to think and how to build and how to dream of journalism. Oliver, you just gave us a short introduction what you are doing. I asked myself, your department is like a year old or something like that. What took you so long to actually start and initiate that kind of a, like, rebuilding journalism process?
Well, basically, I explained we're a late follower, or we have been a late follower in digital. We have been doing websites for 15 years, but more or less good. And so basically, it was always a thing of two factors. One is management attention. So you need top management attention if you want to really be successful in digital transformation processes. And we achieved that top management attention like 3 years ago. And the second is significant resources. So basically you need money. Money is, there are loads of money for startups out there. Everybody wants to become a startup investor. And there are huge funds out there. So the funds, and if we have an own internal fund, they have to be competitive, and which means quicker processes, leaner investments, not much administration, and this is not typical for publishing companies. A lot of administration, slow processes, blah, 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 blah. So, and we had to change that, and that's why an area which I'm responsible for now makes sense. Actually, it's a bundling of different startup activities which have been there for longer.
Let's talk about the state of journalism today. Do you think, Lina, that there are many, like, journalists who are most likely wanting to become, like, entrepreneurs? Or do you think that they're still sticking to the old model? I just want to write. I just want to, like, do beautiful photographs, and I don't care where the money comes from. So where are we today if you're looking at the people approaching you, or if you talk to media people that you're in contact with?
I think the media people are not that far the industry could be, because what I always see when I'm going to journalism schools or everywhere I go, where I talk to media people, entrepreneurship isn't in their minds. It's something people who study BWL or so learn in the first semester, but media people don't have any contact to entrepreneurship throughout their whole education. And that's something that is really missing. So for us, it's really hard to get people into this mindset and to tell them, you just can start it yourself, you have to think about your product, or you have to think journalism as a product. That's the first step to really think, I can build something and I'm not just writing the next title story of Spiegel or so.
The Media Lab is a little over a year old. Do you have the impression that like the things have changed, that the mindset is beginning to change? Are actually like core journalists calling you up and tell them, can I learn how to code? Can I learn how to, like, what's design thinking? Do you have any like workshops or something? So is there a beginning of at least some curiosity that you can sense?
Yeah, actually that is getting better. We had workshops like coding for news or design thinking for news, just a 3-hour workshop in the evening or so, which were very well attended, yeah. But what's more, our entrepreneurship program. We just started in this fall a program for people who don't have a team yet, who have a very rough idea. And we have people over there with 10 years of experience in the media industry who are a managing editor or working in the innovation part of their company, but they can't go any further in their big company and because they don't let them. And they start to think about, I can maybe do it myself, but I don't know anything about startups, so they come to us, and that's good.
Or they come to Mustafa at the public television, radio, and broadcasting. We just learned from Oliver. It's really tough, really rough, like within a corporation to get like the people on board, right? So please tell us how did you do it? How did you bring innovation into a big, like massive ship such as VR? I mean, there are like 3,000 or even 5,000 altogether with the freelancers. 5,000 people. It's a huge corporation, so to speak. So how did you do it? How did you inject innovation?
Richard, I mean, you know Bayerischer Rundfunk at least as well as I do. You've been involved with them for a longer period of time. But Oliver is absolutely right, and I suppose that all of us would agree. You can't be a catalyst for digital transformation or any transformation as massive in scale as this one is, or seems to be to all of us, without having management backing. And management backing, by the way, I wouldn't even say that it needs to be general management backing, but it needs to be top management. It needs to be the CEO, it needs to be the person, or the director general in the end. And that's actually the only reason, if I may be honest, why I joined Bayerischer Rundfunk. Our director general, he would probably not consider himself a digital native, but he is definitely a digital immigrant. So, and he at some point at Bayerischer Rundfunk, he just asked his board, and this has been, I don't know, 4 years ago, this was before my time, and he asked them, well, somehow I feel like, I know that there's a lot of digital transformation happening, but how come that the only digital products that we have are, in Germany you'd call it video on demand platform Mediathek, so how come that Mediathek and br.de, the website, the homepage, are the only digital products that we have? And the board couldn't really give a good answer. So he said, all right, so maybe we need a software innovations lab, and maybe we need people to show us what would be possible for a certain, for a certain budget that we give those people that we might end up finding. So that's how I came to Bayerischer Rundfunk. And what we did is, we had top management backing, we had the director general behind us, we had a certain budget, which was not insanely high, and which, by the way, contrary to what people believe, we never spent even to 50%. So what we did is, they just hired me to build out this software innovations lab. That was planned as a 1-year experiment within Bayerischer Rundfunk. So their commitment was strong, but it was limited in time because they really didn't know what to make of this. But since they didn't know how to help themselves, they just said, all right, let's just give this a try for a year. And I think that's a good way to go about these things. And within that 1 year, we won prizes. We won awards like the Grimme Online Award and things along those lines. We showed in quantifiable metrics that measurable things, that we actually managed to reach audiences that we had lost. And, that builds a certain trust relationship with management and also with people on management levels 2 and management levels 3, and even more importantly, with people, to put this in parentheses or in quotes, with the operative level. And that's how we went about this, and that's why we're still there. That's how, it
So yeah, but
itself.
what are you gonna do like with the rest of like the staff? Do you just leave them behind and say bye-bye, we're here and you can stay wherever you are?
That's a huge question, and seriously, I can't really answer this, but it's fairly obvious, I think, that things have to fundamentally change. See, up until now, and Richard, you are a pro-journalist, so up until now, people didn't really think of many of the colleagues that I encountered, may they be in public broadcasting or in private. They think of themselves not as journalists per se. They think of themselves as either print journalists or TV journalists or radio journalists. And that, I think we're over that. We need to overcome that. We need to distill the essence of what it means to be a journalist. That's one part of it, and we're not there yet. This is you said, Bayerischer Rundfunk has like 5,000 people working for them. ARD in total has many, many more, tens of thousands of people, and these are just the public broadcasters. Then there is print, private, and public. There's many, many more where we need to establish a culture. Either they are going to go through that transformation or they're going to go up in flames.
So using technology in order to overcome the former limitations of technology, just to like have 3 different kinds of, like you do television, you do audio, and you do whatever, and now technology like to unite everybody, like, and to remind ourselves that our original business is journalism and it's not wherever your field of technology used to be.
You're right, but I need to add one other aspect, and that is that journalists who until now thought of technologists as, rather as technicians. They were the guys hauling around cameras and cables. They need to settle for having to work with tech guys and geeks like us, or tech wizards. Like, I guess that's the word you used, wizards. I guess you said wizards, because to a certain extent, yes, we are geeks. We're not technicians. We're not cable carriers. Not that that's a bad job, but they need to work with us on an eye level.
Kilian, when we look at what you did, like the journalists within your company 10 years ago, where will they be in 10 years from now?
Well, that is a good question. I see that 10 years back, our traditional business was to create articles. And then once we published them, by the end of the month, we published monthly magazines typically, the articles were ready, and for the journalist, the job was done. So that was, we call it print and forget. It was in the magazine, and then the job was done. And what you mentioned before, nowadays that we see that these articles go to a website, go to different platforms, go on social medias, as we see it in this connected networks. From our point of view, the job just begins when the article is published, and not ended. So print and forget was yesterday. Today we are more in like thinking, now the job starts. Where can we distribute the article? What is the reach of the article? What is the share rate of the article? What is the download rate of the article? Whatever happens, but then the job of the editorial distribution just begins. And I think in 10 years from now, it's even more that we try to collect data. Maybe who has read the article? What kind of peer group is that? Can we collect other data of similar readers that read the same article and other articles? And can we provide this information maybe to suppliers, because this is an interesting, I don't know, customer group, for example. So this will change our business tremendously in the technical field. where we publish. And I think the editor, the former editor that used to have more like, I'm the neutral, I don't know, journalist that looks on the industry and tries to find new technology, in the future is more like a moderator between suppliers and customers and tries to bring together these two parties. And this is where our maybe future business model is also in. Not just to sell advertising in magazines besides the articles, but to collect data from suppliers and bring it to potential customers, know the potential customers, and be a platform for all of that.
So, but we left journalism like 2 minutes ago already, right?
Yeah, we did.
So you're talking about marketing now.
We're talking about marketing, and this is what happens in our company. And unfortunately, traditional journalists, they do have problems with this sort of transformation. In our company, we see that some people leave the company because they see that the business model is really changing the whole way of working. We need new people. We need more technical oriented people, but especially we need people that understand that the business model is really like collecting data and bring together suppliers and customers, and not any longer just to publish articles by the end of the month, and once you published it, it is over.
Fair enough. I mean, it's November 24th, 20 minutes to 5. I think it's a perfect time to declare journalism dead, like officially. Would you agree?
Yeah,
good.
I agree.
So, thank you.
No,
Oliver.
just
Oliver.
it is a where there is a serious discussion which we haven't touched yet. But if you want to discuss about the future of journalism, you have to discuss about the rules of networks, which we all encounter, and all what we are on the panel here. All what we do is just drops in the ocean, right? All the money which we aggregate, all the resources which we aggregate, and all the innovative culture, blah, 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 and geeks and so on, which we create, it's really not significant in comparison to the power of Google and Facebook and Amazon and Apple and so on.
Every drop can carve a hole into a stone.
But I want to, I know the irony, but we're talking about Facebook being a significant tool for Donald Trump just becoming president of the United States. And there is there's a huge, but his management team agrees. And there is a huge discussion, I know, amongst senior executive inside Facebook right now, what they have to change. Because in Silicon Valley, there are all the Democrats, the left-wing Democrats, who have created the tool that a right-wing guy has become president, so because there's no communication. We need journalism, but we need also transparency about rules. So what we know, companies which are understanding the rules are, example, for a German example is Heftig, or an international example has been mentioned is BuzzFeed. What is Heftig and BuzzFeed? It's bullshit.
Just acquired, made money.
It's bullshit. It's nothing anybody wants to read seriously. And the question is,
so you don't think it's sustainable?
It will probably will be sustainable. It will be economically very, very successful, but it's not informing the people. It's just creating buzz as such. So the buzz is la pour la. And in the end, the question is where consumers who have interest in getting backgrounds, getting the real information, getting the whole picture, can they really inform themselves through Facebook? Or has Facebook, on the other hand, as an ecosystem, which we have all been encountering, be transparent of what is distributed and what the mechanics of distribution are? And I think there all the publishers have to unite, probably.
But would you declare Rumidoo being a journalistic endeavor?
No.
Okay, so what is Gruner+Jahr doing actually to make money with journalism online?
Well, we run our websites which have a paid content and advertising related business model, and also we are trying to gain additional reach in social media. So we are in that domain. We are doing what everybody's doing. Right. Okay. But if you want to go inside Facebook, you can't write the journalist who has a quality understanding, and to my extent, Gruner+Jahr journalists have that quality understanding. He can't write the headline as he wants to. He has to write the headline that it gets distribution inside Facebook, and it's getting even worse in Snapchat in the end. And And Google, we have the impression, we publishers have the impression that Google is more or less taking care about us. They do so. They pretend to do so. They have this nice research fund, the Digital News Initiative, and so on and so forth. And
that's a new headline for this conference today,
but,
just as you just heard it.
But Facebook is taking care less.
Publishers' new darling is Google.
And Facebook does care less. And Snapchat does give a shit on us. They don't care. They don't care about journalism. They
have
don't
their
even...
IPO next year, so we'll take it from there. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we only have 2 more minutes left, and I just want to know from everybody here. So, where are we today with journalism? Where are we today in journalism, and what do you think is going to be the next step? Because now we see there's a whole new era of innovation going on at BR, at the publishers, at like the broadcasting and the institutions, the private sector, and Gruner+Jahr as well. So we've all learned our lesson over the past 10 years, what we missed out on, and what we have to do. So what's going to be now the next step that we need to climb, to take in order to evolve? If you want to start, Kilian.
I think for us, at first, it's to find new business models. And then I'm back to new business models are not any longer just to have good journalism and sell advertising, because there is no advertising in the digital world. We need to find new business models, and that leads to find new models by all over. But that might be a different way in the technical journalism. For example, in comparison to if you have a social mission like Süddeutsche Zeitung, something like that. Maybe they have a chance to do that a little different, like as we do.
Mustafa, the next step to evolve in journalism.
I mean, I guess the most important aspect that all of us need to understand if we're really interested in media and journalism is stop victimizing ourselves. This is the most exciting time to be in journalism ever since the printing press was invented. This is a huge paradigm shift. I mean, yes, we don't know what the business models of the future are going to look like, but we know that journalism is super important. You know, who would have thought after 70 years after World War II that populism would resurface in Western Europe as strong as it does, or in the Western world in general. So journalism is super important. Journalism will change to a certain extent. Money will be made in some form or another. I mean, just look at the movie industry and at the music industry. Both of them have been caught up in a digital paradigm shift for the last 15 years, and it took them 15, 16 years to figure out how to earn money again. It'll take us a while too. I mean, those who are not publicly run, we will find those mechanisms, because journalism, the need for journalism has probably never been greater over the last, over the last 70 years. So I'm very, very bullish on journalism.
Right?
I think we have to adapt faster to all the things that are happening out there. Regarding Facebook, you mentioned, we first all thought for a few years we have to go where the people are. Now maybe we see that it's not the right way. And the other thing is that we really should talk more to our users. That's something we actually can adapt from the startup scene, because startup people just try to find first a real problem that people out there have, and then build a solution on that, and not just do something or build up innovation you yourself always wanted to do.
So user-centric. And the last, I think the question is perfect for you. Serious journalism media can't sell wine and lifestyle articles. How can they make money in order to close this panel?
Yeah, that's all those questions are really relevant. Probably we can cover them at dinner or so. Really good questions. In the end, for us, so we have serious journalism like Stern, so which is research, doing the real research and publish serious articles, and we will never see wine and lifestyle articles to sell goods inside Stern. So, but on the other hand, Gruner+Jahr has more inspirational environments such as Schöner Wohnen, where basically it's about inspiration in interior design, and if you want to go there, you probably are open to have a sale or to acquire a good. Yeah, that's basically the answer to that question. But I think the last question is really really good. The main problem, advertising, marketing, and social media, that journalism also depends on created widespread focus. We all, if you know how we write now and how we distribute our articles, we all follow the rules that other guys have set. So basically, news headlines are texted in a way that Facebook shows them, in a way that Google finds them. Is that the news? Or is that the filter of the news which we encounter by the new ecosystems? It's the latter. And I think those large organizations have to request themselves if they're doing the right thing. Facebook has it in its mission to create dialogue amongst users. It's the corporate mission of Facebook. Is there really a dialogue in Facebook? I would doubt that. And probably we need new rules there.
All right, we'll leave it as that. Thank you very much for the panel. I've learned that we need to sell a lot of wine so that the journalists can have at least a little bit of water later. Thank you very much, and good luck to all of us. Thank you.